coaching that you do, what, in your professional opinion, is the difference between transitioning as an athlete versus any other career?
That's a great question. You know, career transition is about change. And change is the same whether you're an athlete or whether you're in the corporate world or whatever you're doing for that matter. And so I would say from a principal perspective, there is no difference. The process of transitioning in your life and career is the same. That said, as an athlete, and I sit down with athletes on a regular basis, and everything in the athletic world is very much magnified. Everything is more intense, it's more defined. You know, you think about it, I mean, if you're an athlete, you've got a short shelf life. There's just no way about that. I mean, ultimately, I was reading the other day in terms of the NFL, the average career in the NFL is under 3 years. I mean, that is really, really short. You think about, you know, the age of athletes. I was looking up, the oldest person in the CFL is 46. I think the oldest person in the NFL is 47, and interesting enough, they're both kickers. So, you know, you can argue they're really athletes, but I'm all joking aside, but so it's a really, really short, so they really struggle. And I think the other issue with athletes, and it's almost the way it was in the corporate world a generation ago, where people would align what they do with who they are. And one of the things that I see with athletes is they have a hard time, many of them, not all of them, separating what they do from who they are. So being a hockey player, a football player, that's who they are. And from the time that they were a little boy or girl to the time that they are now thinking about transitioning, that's who they are. That's all they know. And when people see them, you think, for example, you know, not just the celebrity that comes with it, but that's who they are. And when they come in and they say, I want to make a change, it's not asking them to change a job or even an industry or career like some of us do. It's asking them to change who they are and how they define themselves and how people see them. And then the other thing I find interesting from a sports perspective is that element of celebrity. Most of the athletes I meet with, and whether they be high-level amateur or they're professional, you know, they're very down-to-earth people. But I got to tell you, you sit there and someone comes up and asks for your autograph 10 times a day. There's a certain celebrity that comes with that, and not that you seek it, but you know, you have a great play. Bo has a great day at the office, and people cheer. 30,000 people cheering a great pass. I make a really good decision in a meeting. Nobody cheers for me. No, it doesn't happen to me. You know. And, yeah. So I mean, that's the reality. The only time people ask for my autograph is when the FedEx delivery comes to the office. You know, and so you know, we joke about that, but the reality is those things are hard for people because all of a sudden, when I was a little boy, I was in Montreal. I'm from Montreal, and my dad introduced this gentleman to me. He goes, Dave, I want you to meet Doug Harvey. And I go, oh, nice to meet you. And he said, and he you know, shook my hand. And he said, would you like an autograph? And I go, okay. I'm like 6 years old, and I get his autograph. And we get in the car, and I thought this guy was someone my dad worked with. And Doug Harvey, you know, for those who don't know him, was probably one of the greatest defensemen in the history of the NHL and Montreal Canadiens. He's a legend. You know, he wants to give me his autograph because nobody knows who he was anymore. I mean, that's ultimately, over time, those things fade for people. So with athletes, that's a struggle sometimes. So everything is magnified from an athlete's perspective, and I think sometimes transition is more difficult because of the fact that, you know, they're passionate, they've lived for their sport, they're being centrally focused, and the reason they're successful is because they made it a passion. It's hard. You know, when you can't play anymore, you know, you get to a certain age and a certain ability, or you have injury, or somebody's coming up and you know, there's younger, less expensive version of yourself. You know, it's the end of the road, and if you don't see it coming, it's very difficult.